Hello, Steve White, TrekBoy89 for Steve Arts89. Well, I've been enjoying talking about my convention experiences, meeting a lot of Star Trek stars and celebrities over the years. And I've also met people from other shows. And one of them was Erin Gray. Now, Erin Gray, for me, Erin Gray was Jason Voorhees' sister from Jason Goes to Hell. That's what I really remember her for. I had that on video. I watched it a million times. I couldn't see it in the cinema because I was too young when it came out, but I got on video afterwards and I had my own sell-through copy, rental copy, and then they did a local one, and then we got on Blu-ray, and then we got the alternate unrated version from New Line and stuff. So I sort of know her from that, but she was in Buck Rogers. Now, I saw Buck Rogers when I was a kid. I vaguely remember. I remember Tiki, whatever his name was. I couldn't really remember the rest of it. I did buy it on Blu-ray, a DVD, and watch it a couple of years later, and I really enjoyed it, and I liked her in it. But I didn't really. She's sort of not that character for me. She is more the character from Jason Goes to Hell. So she did a convention in Melbourne, and she was also sort of handling some of the other actors who were doing conventions and that. So she was a bit business, but she was good with the Q&As, and she sort of knew a bit about the industry and was just talking about stuff, and outside of just the experience of the actor. And she told a sort of sad story about how she needed money for her daughter's college. I think it was her daughter's college. And someone had given her one of the Buck Rogers models. And she'd sat on top of an air conditioner somewhere for 20 years or something. And someone had told her it's worth like tens of thousands of dollars. And she tried to sell it, but unfortunately the plastic had deteriorated because she hadn't taken care of it. And that was such a pity, because I'm like, that literally could have put your kid through college. And later she was at the autograph tables, and because I sort of knew the people who run the shows and sort of knew the people who worked there, and that I was just sort of hanging out a bit and just chatting to her and that, and she was really nice and really friendly for a while, and then all of a sudden she just sort of switched off, like, I'm done with you, I've given you enough attention, and she just sort of went kind of quiet. But before that she had talked about Jason Goes to Hell, because there's a moment in the film where the Jason monster that came out of the neck of the person that he possessed. Let's just say it goes somewhere that was filmed with an extra. It wasn't filmed with her, and she didn't know. They never told her they filmed it. So it wasn't until she was in the screening of the film with her son that this shot was in there, and she didn't know about it. And I'm like, oh my God, I never knew that. So I was talking to her about that, and she was sort of saying, well, I've sort of forgiven the guy now. I'm friends with the director and all that, but I was really upset at the time, blah, blah, blah. And we were just talking about stuff, and she was really interesting. But yeah, she just sort of switched off all of a sudden, and I was sort of like, okay, we're done. And I just went off to the the merchandise section and just hung out with people and that, and it was a little bit weird. But aside from that, she was very interesting, and she went on to be in Star Trek. Oh yeah, I forgot she was in Star Trek Continues as well. She played an admiral in the... I really wasn't happy with this episode, because there was an episode that some people interpret from the original series as saying that women couldn't be starship captains. There's a character who says that, but she's literally mentally ill and trying to kill Captain Kirk, and I think she just had some sort of persecution complex. And although Gene was trying to make a comment on like women in the 60s and that, he wasn't literally saying that there were no starship captains and women couldn't be starship captains in Starfleet. That was something people interpreted. And they addressed it in this by making it something that happened temporarily. Like, we did have captains, female captains in Star Trek, because we did in Enterprise. And that there was some sort of political faction that the Federation had to work with, and they were catering to their misogynistic beliefs. So not to offend them, because they needed their help for military reasons, and just the idea that we have to maintain, our rights, and we can't sort of let things like that change, and so it was interesting. But I feel like you could have just left that alone. There's no reason to think that there was actually a real problem within the Federation with women, and a real misogynistic issue in the Federation. It really was just this one crazy character, and that's what she thought. She was bitter and twisted and trying to kill Captain Kirk because she was so pathologically jealous of him because he became a captain. And the reason she didn't was because she was literally mentally ill, and obviously she didn't have what it was to be a starship captain in that state. So it was nothing to do with sexism or misogyny in the Federation, but people interpret it as that. People who are usually negative about Star Trek who want to try and make out that the original series isn't as woke as it really is. So yeah. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. It was a good episode. She was good in it. I just didn't think they needed to address that and sort of give it the validity that I don't think it deserved as an interpretation.